that was characteristic was that all of the
epididymis,
lumens, all the whole glandular part, the lumens were all just chock full of sperm. So you could see all the flagella. It was like,
party.
Huh?
The party.
Okay. Whatever helps you remember it.
So this is the prostate?
Just don't invite me. I don't think I want to go to that one.
Oh man.
Yes.
So the main thing about the prostate, for some reason the epididymis slide is not here, but you remember the epididymis, the thing that gives that away is that the lumens are all filled with sperm. And you don't see that in the seminal vesicle of the prostate because they make semen which is then injected into the sperm stream. So there better not be any sperm in the
prostate,
seminal vesicle of the prostate. That would be abnormal, yes.
It's injected into the vas deferens or like further along?
Well, it's usually injected in right in the human. You have the prostate basically grows right around the urethra.
Bulbal urethral gland?
And that's downstream actually. That's like Cowper's gland in the human anatomy. That's actually downstream of the prostate. But the seminal vesicle injects its component of semen right in the prostate. It's sort of right there. Prostate's like Grand Central right there. So you have, while it's going through the prostate, that's where the vas deferens meets the urethra, and also right into the urethra while it's going through the prostate is where you have the prostatic secretions and the seminal vesicle secretions going through.
So into the urethra.
So the main thing about the prostate, though, the giveaway there is that you have a very thick layer of smooth muscle. In fact, the older you grow, the more smooth muscle grows in there. Benign prostatic hyperplasia is a growth of this stromal tissue. And stroma just means your basic structural tissue, and it varies from organ to organ depending on what it's the stroma of. In the prostate, the stroma is mainly smooth muscle.
So this is
when I was studying, they said that they just recently found a new way that testosterone enters the prostate, and it's probably responsible for BPH.
The new way that testosterone?
Yeah, they found a new pathway that testosterone enters the prostate and causes overgrowth of.
How does it enter the prostate?
I'm not sure. I googled BPH.
Oh, you mean that it diffuses locally somehow?
Somehow, yeah.
Isn't the prostate responsive to DHT?
Paraffin factor, as usual.
No.
Yeah, it's DHT, but it probably can make. It probably has 5-alpha reductase on its own and can do its own target tissue.
So they think that causes BPH.
But what's interesting about prostatic growth, it also requires estrogen at some point. But anyway, this is characteristic. You can see that these glands, corpora amylacea is just a fancy name for the residue of prostatic fluid that you sometimes see.
So you
you can call this a corpora amylacea. But the main thing about the prostate, it has these very round, I wouldn't even call it cuboidal because they're so round, epithelium. But the thing that distinguishes it, remember, from the other elements of the male reproductive tract is you have all of these different glandular elements, but most of the tissue there is actually smooth muscle. A lot of it, you could find areas that aren't, you could make a tricky question, but I will, when I ask you about the prostate, you will see that there's a lot of smooth muscle around. And that should basically give it away.
Cool.
Outside of the epididymis right next to the testis, obviously, that's one, basically one lumen of one duct coming out of the testis. But here we have many of these, many lumens of many glands and a lot of smooth muscle around. That's characteristic for the prostate. And the hormone that stimulates the growth is DHT. Okay, so that's the prostate, all right?